Hey guys, and welcome to today's session. It feels so good to be back. I haven't had internet for the past week, hence why I've been a little bit quiet on the live sessions perspective. However, managed to get an engineer out today and internet's restored. So we are back in motion with the sessions. And so we're going to start this week's kind of stream of sessions with our normal welcome session. So today's kind of an oversight into DarwinX Zero, who we are, what we do, and kind of a base level overview of everything that you need to know to get started. Now, my name is Kieran and I'm head of UK growth and business development here for Darwinex and Darwinex Zero in the UK. And for those who aren't aware, Darwinex, who is our sister company, is a regulated asset manager and broker, regulated by 3 separate entities. So we're regulated by the FCA in the UK, by the CNMV in Spain, and by the FSA in the Seychelles. We currently have over $100 million invested in our platform from third-party capital. So not just from Darwinex, but from retail investors, hedge funds, family offices, all putting capital into traders through our platform. And we have over 10,000 active strategies also. And we call them strategies because some traders have multiple systems running concurrently on our system. So a base level overview, we'll take a look at what DarwinX Zero is. So if you could sum DarwinX Zero, or if I could sum DarwinX Zero in one sentence, I would say it's the best or the only place, or the only and best place, I guess they both work. It's the only place to become a professional asset manager with zero risk. Now, when we're talking about risk here, we're not just talking about monetary risk, right? So with DarwinX Zero, it is a subscription-based service. So you don't have to put any of your own capital at risk. You don't have to fund a trading account. You don't have to put margin up front and then get funding from external investors. You literally pay a subscription. You get access to all of our technology and access to our regulatory cover so that you can become an asset manager with zero risk to your own capital, even if things go wrong. Now, that stretches a little bit further because there's also, and maybe I should update the presentation to reflect this, but there's also zero extra effort. Okay, so traditionally, if you're looking to allocate capital from some investors, you're going to have to go out and network with investors. You might need an already established network. You need to be credible. You have to have the people skills. You have to get regulatory cover, which can cost an insane amount of money. You might get rejected. You know, there's no kind of guarantee that everybody will get a license to manage capital. Through DarwinX Zero, you come under Darwinex entity, so you don't have to put in any effort to network with investors or to get this regulatory cover because we do it all for you. Next, we give you the best tools for you to develop as a trader. So we give you advanced strategy insights. We're currently working on getting a trading journal as well, so that you can actually journal your trades alongside these advanced metrics. I don't have an ETA for that yet, but I know it's something that the team are working on. I was kind of pestering them for months on this because I think it's a huge addition to what we already offer. So that it's basically like an all-in-one piece of kit. You can get allocations, you can learn, you can grow as a trader, you can journal all of your trades and get access to insights for free. And then lastly, we have what is a really rapidly growing community of like-minded traders. I feel like at this point, people are waking up to the opportunity that you have with DarwinX Zero, what we offer and how it can actually benefit you. And we're kind of, or the tide's turning a little bit and traders are starting to see this as a career. They're seeing it long term and they're understanding actually what's possible when you put your mind to it, you know, for a long period of time and not just seeing this as a get rich quick scheme. So what do I actually mean when I say become a professional asset manager? Okay, and not just a trader. And I like to highlight that because I think anybody can become a trader. You just have to open a brokerage account or open a demo account even, press a couple of buttons, and therefore you can classify yourself as a trader by definition. Now, professional asset manager is just on a completely different ballgame, right? There's things that you have to do. There's things that you need to be doing on a daily basis to maintain that status. And Darwinex is here throughout the whole journey to help you get there. So initially, when you join DarwinX Zero, your account goes through something called the calibration phase. Now, the calibration phase isn't a pass or fail assessment. It's just simply so that we can take a look at your trading behavior and understand your exposure or your average exposure on a daily basis. And the reason we do this is because we have a proprietary risk engine that looks at all of your trading behavior and all the trades that you take, and it recalculates the risk for you at Darwin level. Now, your Darwin is kind of an index for investors to buy. Okay, so we manage the risk on behalf of those investors. So what we need to do to be able to do that accurately is look at your behavior, understand your deleverage, which is, I actually published a video about this earlier, so go onto our Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, or any of our social media platforms to take a look at it, because it's a 1-minute explaining into what deleverage is. But deleverage, in a few words, is basically our way of taking a look at how much exposure and how much risk you have in the market at any given time. We need to know that accurately so that we can therefore reflect your position sizing on your Darwin, so that investors can know that their downside is capped, okay, which I'll get onto in a moment. Calibration phase takes generally 3 weeks, although it can take slightly longer if you're not consistent with your trading in that period of time. When I say consistent, I don't mean, up or down. I just mean if your behavior is inconsistent, i.e. one day you take 20 trades, the next day you take 3 trades, the next day you don't take any. It's very difficult to understand your average exposure. So it might take a little bit longer. However, if you are consistent and you do the same thing, it should take roughly 3 weeks. Now, once you come out of the calibration phase, you'll then get your Darwin created on the following Monday. That enables you to compete in the DarwinIA program. That's where you start earning allocation. Now, there's 2 tiers. You can see I've missed a step for now, but we will come back to it. So you can see there's 2 steps or 2 tiers to the DarwinIA program. We have silver and we have gold. Now, silver is where everybody competes. Silver is a lot bigger than gold. There's a lot more allocation goes out to silver purely because of the numbers. But in DarwinIA Silver, the allocation on a monthly basis ranges from 30,000 euros to 360,000 euros. And those DarwinIA allocations last for 3 months. And this is our way of rewarding your trading and rewarding your efforts until the point you become a professional asset manager. So what we don't want you to do is join Darwinex Zero and think, okay, in 2 years' time, I'm going to be a professional asset manager. But in the meantime, I'm not going to make a penny. We don't want that. So what we will do is we will incentivize you with DarwinIA allocations in the meantime so that you can earn whilst you become a professional asset manager. The second tier of DarwinIA, which is gold, you have to hit a few performance milestones first before we migrate your account. So your account has to be, or your track record, sorry, has to be at least 8 months in length. You have to have made 20% return, and your return to drawdown ratio needs to be 2.5 or more. Now, what that means is if you've had a max drawdown of 10% over the past, year or so, you're going to have made 25% in return, which is 2.5x of what your drawdown is. If you fit all those performance criteria that I've just mentioned, you can then be promoted to gold, where the allocations are larger and they actually go up to 500,000 euros per month, and they last for 6 months. In Darwinex Zero as well, when you hit DarwinIA Gold, that's when the doors become open to investors, and that's really when your career with Darwinex will scale and take off. Because now you don't only have the DarwinIA allocations and permanent allocations, which I'll cover in a second, you also become open to investors and to the Darwinex fund as well, which again, I'm going to cover shortly. Now, on top of the DarwinIA allocations, when you come out of the calibration phase, you can then activate a permanent allocation on your account, which means you can activate a 100,000 euro permanent allocation to your Darwin. Now, this is 100,000 euros that will never expire, even if you go into a 99% drawdown. We will never take away your permanent allocation. It's a one-time fee. You pay it activates on your account dependent on the growth target that you select. Again, I will go over that in a moment. And by the way, guys, if you do have any questions as I go through this, I appreciate sometimes maybe I might talk a little bit fast. Just pop it in the comments and I'll be sure to either stop or come back to your question afterwards. But your permanent allocation runs side by side the DarwinIA allocations. We never remove it from your account, and you can earn performance fees on it for life, providing that you're hitting new all-time highs and a new high watermark high consistently above the previous time you were paid in performance fees. Now, the next step on the ladder to becoming a professional asset manager is where you become open to the investors and the investor marketplace. Now, this is where you can really scale quickly because there's no cap, there's no monthly limit to how much capital can go to your system. I'm not saying you're going to become a millionaire overnight, but what I am saying is that with DarwinIA allocations, you know beforehand, the maximum I can get allocated this month is 360,000 or 500,000 or 30,000 based on my rating. With investors, it's completely down to the investors. You might get $1,000 in AUM. You might get 100,000, and who knows, you might even get $1 million. There's a Darwin called SQZ, and SQZ is a great example. Now, he did come through Classic, he didn't come through Darwinex Zero, but that really doesn't matter. His Darwin opened for investors in January of this year. Within 1 month, he had $1 million under AUM with only a year-long track record. So, like I say, it can really, really scale fast. There's no telling on how fast it's going to scale, but the doors are open. And then finally, the last rung on the ladder is the Darwinex Fund, or Darwinex Labs as it's known, which is our in-house hedge fund. Yes, we have a licensed hedge fund running through Darwinex, and we allocate our own capital and we raise capital externally also to go into the hedge fund that we then allocate to all of our traders. Now, I say all of our traders, we allocate it to the top performers. So at the moment, I believe there's about 200 traders within the Darwinex fund, and it's performing really well. It had a drawdown at the beginning of this year, as pretty much most traders did, as the market started to go into a bit of turmoil with Donald Trump coming in and introducing all the new tariff regime. However, it's bounced back really well. It's run as a rebalancing portfolio, and it is a really, really great addition to the Darwinex ecosystem. And like I say, it's kind of similar to the investors because you will just see Darwinex Labs as an investor, but we will contact you if we're looking to add a significant amount of capital to your portfolio. And it's just another way to earn performance fees with Darwinex. Now, as I've already mentioned, you have roughly a 3-week period where you trade during the calibration phase. And once you come out the following Monday, your Darwin is then eligible for DarwinIA allocations and permanent allocations. There's 2 different tiers in the DarwinIA program. So we have silver and gold. It's ran as a monthly competition and is in addition to permanent allocations. Now you might ask, how is it run as a competition? Well, it's different in both leagues, in both the silver and the gold leagues. So in the Darwinex Silver League, we run it as a competition based on your rating. Okay. And to work out your rating, we look at 3 different metrics. So we look at your current month's return, your previous 5 months return, and your previous 6 months drawdown, giving us a snapshot of your past 6 months trading activity and trading P&L. They're not weighted equally. So I can't remember the actual percentages off the top of my head. I believe I'm not even going to butcher it. One of them is highly weighted compared to the others, and I think it's current month's return, but I will have to double check. I can find out now for you if anybody wants to know, but it is on our website. You can find out how this is weighted, and it will spit out a score. Your score therefore correlates to how much allocation you will receive in that month. Basically, the higher the rating you have, the more allocation that you're going to attract for that month. Now, DarwinIA Gold works slightly differently because DarwinIA Gold literally only works on the current month's return. It doesn't take into consideration your previous 5 months return or your previous 6 months max drawdown. It just looks at your current month's return, and therefore, whoever has the highest return will get the highest amount of allocation in DarwinIA Gold. Now, like I said, with the permanent allocations, once your Darwin comes out of the calibration phase, you can pay a one-off fee and activate your permanent allocation from within the dashboard. You select a performance target or an instant allocation, which I'll explain in a moment. And then that 100,000 euros is allocated to your account permanently. Now, I can't emphasize permanently enough because in a space where accounts are lost left, right, and center, this really is an account that will stick with you forever. As long as you're trading that account and as long as you don't restart or cancel or don't pay your subscription, you'll always have access to that 100,000 euro permanent allocation. Doesn't matter about the drawdown, doesn't matter how long you're trading the account. We will never, ever, ever pull that money from you. We're also looking at new permanent allocations to bring or temporary allocations to bring. We're looking to introduce them more as a booster, so you can potentially customize it. So if you want it for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, you know, and if you want 100,000, 50,000, you know, the price is all going to vary based on what you want. But there's nothing kind of set in stone yet. I believe the product team have pretty much got it all ready to launch, but I don't have an ETA, but I will, as soon as I know, relay that back to all of you guys who are watching this anyway. So you will just keep attending these sessions or watching the replays, and you will stay up to date with any of that product launches that we have. Now you see on the screen, we have 5 different options for the permanent allocations. We have 0% and then 5, 10, 15 and 20%. Now the 0% just represents an instant allocation. As soon as you purchase and activate that, it's active on your account. So any performance you make on your Darwin after it's activated, you will earn performance fees on it. If you choose a growth target, which you can see is considerably cheaper, if you choose one of these with a growth target, it means you need to make that percentage growth on your Darwin before the 100,000 euro gets activated. So if I chose the 10% option, for example, I would therefore need to make 10% from the point of purchase. So if my Darwin's at 100 quote, for example, which means I haven't made any money on it, or I haven't made any return, I would need to get my Darwin quote or my Darwin return to 110. So I'd need to make 10%. As soon as I've hit 10%, that 100,000 euro is going to be therefore active on my account. And moving forward from that 10% point, I'll then be earning performance fees on it. Same with the 5, same with the 15, same with the 20%. And the price is reflected. Now, we do offer our traders the opportunity to transition at any time from Darwinex Zero to Darwinex. Now, Darwinex is, as I said at the beginning, our sister company, parent company, however you want to phrase it. They're an FCA regulated broker, an asset manager. We use all of the same software that we use at Darwinex. The risk engine is the same. Everything is the same. All the Darwins through Darwinex Zero runs through all of the same programming that the Darwins at Classic do as well. Now, why would somebody want to migrate from Zero to Classic? To be honest, we don't have that many requests for it. However, sometimes people don't want to pay the 38 euros anymore, so they decide to open a brokerage account. You do have to fund the brokerage account with $1,000 or more to be eligible for DarwinIA allocations. But for some traders, they would rather that. They would rather risk their own capital and make a return on it. We kind of see it to Darwinex Zero is kind of where you have the training wheels on. Darwinex, or Darwinex Classic as some people know it or refer to it as, is for serious traders. That's where you go, I'm ready to get rid of the zero risk element, I'm ready to manage my own capital, and I'm ready to step it up a gear. We facilitate that. What we will do is, if you've been trading at Darwinex Zero for a week, a month, a year, 10 years, doesn't matter how long, we will take your track record from your virtual account, we will impose it onto your live track record, and we will combine the two. So that if you've traded your 100,000 euro or $100,000, virtual account for a year, and then you decide to open up an account with $1,000 in the Darwinex broker, your track record will be migrated, although your new account will be live instead of the virtual account. And one of the most underrated parts of Darwinex Zero, in my opinion, is the trading statistics and insights that we provide to our traders. Now we break it down into a few different categories. Okay, so you can split you can take a look at your metrics from a return to risk perspective. You can take a look at the assets, the time frames, the days of the week that you trade, see when your performance is better, when your performance is worse, and we also do some advanced strategy analysis as well. So we look at your maximum excursions, we look at your value at risk. And if you look on Darwinex.com instead of Darwinex Zero, you can search for your Darwinex Zero ticker as well. And you get opened up to a whole new world of metrics over there as well. We have things called investable attributes, and you can view specific things such as your risk stability, how much the risk engine has intervened, the capacity and the max investment that your Darwin can handle, and so many more different metrics. But I do run weekly sessions on those. So we do it on a Wednesday. So tomorrow at 4 p.m. UK time, I'll be going live like I am now, and we take a look at somebody's Darwin and I do the analysis live. So if you're interested in that, either watch one of our recorded sessions from a Wednesday. We have loads. They're all on our YouTube. They're all on our X account as well. Or just attend a live session. If you want me to analyze your Darwin, come to a live session, put your hand up, and I'm happy to do it live. We'll take a look on Darwinex Zero, and we'll also take a look at the attributes that we have on Darwinex 2, just so that you get a clear picture of where you are, what you could potentially look at improving, and what you're actually doing well as well. Now, this is a bit of a random one, because I accidentally left this slide in the presentation a few weeks back when I was doing some fiddling around, and it took me by surprise on one of the live sessions we did, but then I realized that actually it's probably better suited to be here and be a little bit random. So I mentioned at the beginning of this session that we have a proprietary risk engine that adjusts all of our traders' position size at Darwin level. Now, the reason we do that is because we want to know that our investors are going to stick around. Our investors aren't looking for 100% return a week. They're looking for 2% a month. 2% a month, 3% a month, maybe at most. They want to know their drawdown is limited. They want to know that their exposure is limited. And they want to know that somebody's watching over the shoulder of their trader, as you would in a professional proprietary trading firm. Okay, whether you're a hedge fund, investment bank, a prop desk, wherever you are in a professional trading environment, you're always going to have a risk manager watching over your size, watching over your trades, looking at your P&L. And our risk engine kind of takes that, virtualizes it, and makes sure that you're always exposed at the right degree, or at least that your investors are exposed to the right degree. Now, you can see on the chart, we have a big bold white line that says 6.5%. Now, 6.5% is the value at risk of the S&P 500, which is the leading investment vehicle or investment asset class in the world, right? Bar none, pretty much. We know that investors are happy with that risk level. We know investors will sit through drawdowns at that risk level. And we know that that's the kind of returns that investors are happy with. Now, what we do is we standardize the risk of all of our traders to this level. So we bring all of our traders' risk to 6.5%, whether it's us tuning them down or us tuning them up. If you can outperform the S&P whilst operating at the same level, then congratulations, you're in the 1% of traders who can actually do that. And therefore, you will scale phenomenally at Darwinex. Now, on the chart, you can see at the beginning, this trader was above 6.5% value at risk. And therefore, what our risk engine would have been doing is would have been tuning their risk down at Darwin level. So at the start, it looks like they're roughly between 13.5%. So the risk engine will be cutting their size in half. So the risk multiplier will roughly be 0.5x. As that chart comes down, this updates in real time, tick by tick. And as they start opening new positions, as they hit the 6.5% VAR, they're going to have a risk multiplier pretty much of 1 to 1, meaning if they're trading 10 lots on their Signal account, or Darwin is also trading 10 lots. Now, as they pass it and go underneath 6.5%, our risk engine is actually going to be looking at their trading behavior and tuning it up. So at that point, the trader might be taking a 1 lot position on the Signal account, and the risk engine goes, you're operating at 0.65% value at risk. You're really, really low in exposure here. So we're actually going to tune you up, because you've got that room. You've got that leeway to add a little bit more size in the market. And then it will tune you up. And you can see the trader, therefore, then stayed underneath that 6.5% line moving forward. So I think it's a really important chart for us to know and be aware of now. Like I said earlier, this isn't a session to go too deep into. It's kind of an overview of what we do. We have another session on Thursday, which is the Darwin explanation session, where I go into value at risk and exposure in much more detail. But today, this is the perfect snapshot of what you need to know going in, which is why I keep this in our presentation. Now, we do have a great trading community. If you're not part of our Discord, make sure you join. The link is in all of our bios on our social media pages. We're closing in on 10,000 members in the Discord, and it's just full of great people. Okay, great people with the long-term vision. They get it. They're super helpful. If you put a question in there, half of our members get there before I can even get there. So I advocate highly that you join our server and be the first to know anything that happens in relation to DarwinX Zero. We also have a partner program, so we're always looking to partner with the right people. And I emphasize the right people. We don't want any Lambo boys representing DarwinX Zero. We just want people who have the same ethos as us and are looking at growing as a trader and helping others to do so as well. So if you do have an audience or you have a community or you're part of a community, please reach out to me or to our Twitter account and just let us know, and we can jump on a call and we can see what we can do together. And then lastly, every trader on our platform has a member get member code, which means if you share that code with your friends, your family, your nans, aunties, uncles, dog, and you invite them to DarwinX Zero, you will earn a 3-month subscription. So yes, if you invite 12 people to DarwinX Zero and they all sign up, then yes, you will get a 3 years worth of subscription at DarwinX Zero. So it really does, it helps us, it helps you, and it helps the people that you bring to DarwinX Zero by sharing your MGM or your get member code. I also have a short video about that. So if you want to know more about the get member code, take a look at any of our social media pages. I think it was towards the back end of last week or maybe over the weekend, I published the get member video. It's a 1-minute clip, it tells you everything you need to know about the get member. And lastly, we do have a 10% code running at the moment, 10% discount code running, which is DWX10, and it's valid on all of our subscriptions. So it's valid on our 1 month, our 1 year, and our 3 year subscriptions. Now, what's important to note here is if you do buy a 3-year subscription, you also get a €200+ coupon to go towards a permanent allocation as well. So not only do you get the discount, well, you get a discount on the 3-year subscription because it's cheaper than the months and the yearly per month. You also get 10% off. You also then get a coupon towards your permanent allocation. And then to wrap up, I just want to ask if anybody has any questions. If not, we will call it a session, and then we will be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. UK time for the strategy development session. And then we'll also have the Darwin explanation session on Thursday. And I have a couple of really, really great interviews coming up, both for DarwinX Classic and for DarwinX Zero. So I'm really excited to get those out to you guys. I know it's been a while for the interviews, but we're locked back in. We're getting them recorded. We're getting them out there. And I'm excited to get those out. So it doesn't look like we've got any questions. So I will call it a session here. As I say, we'll be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. UK time. So if you want to watch me analyze the Darwin live, make sure to be there. If you can't be there, which is completely understandable, I know you all have lives. We do record them all and we upload them to our Twitter or X account and to our YouTube as well. And I'm also going to start trying to see if I can stream them to TikTok and Instagram too. But we'll see. Baby steps. We'll see. So guys, oh, sorry, I thought someone was typing them. Yeah, I'm going to call it a session here. So I hope you all have a fantastic evening and I hope to see you all tomorrow. Have a great one, guys. Thank you all.